Abubakar, is EFCC's zonal head in Abuja. So they invited the EFCC. This is Ribadu now playing the script. So they invited the EFCC to come. Then within the EFCC, there's another guy called Olalekan Ogunjobi. Okay, he's a detective, EFCC detective. Then Ribadu himself. Now, let me show you the face of Abubakar. This is Abubakar. That's Abubakar. Okay. Now, which is the EFCC zonal head, Abuja. Then you have Ogunjobi Olalekan. See Ogunjobi Olalekan. Ogunjobi Olalekan is a EFCC detective. Okay. Then Ribadu, the chief criminal, who puts together the whole scheme. Hey, that's Ribadu. Now, Ribadu, in his office as the National Security Advisor to Tifnumbu, now told the Binance guys, listen, guys, we want you to give to us all the details of every Nigerian that is registered on Binance. But I mean, I get Binance account too. So they're not for give my details to Ribadu, right? Even though I don't get money there. And these ones were like, no, it doesn't work that way. That's not how this works. Yeah. If you have people you are investigating and you know we can be of help, that's how we're going to do it. Just a moment ago, some guys were asking us for $150 million if we want this to go away. Like, what is this? That was the beginning of the abduction of these guys. So, like, they kidnapped them. Like, Baba, they kidnapped them for ransom. They told them categorically that they would have to keep them until Binance was ready to pay the bribe, which Ribadu also did. I mean, requested for. Do you know how much Ribadu requested for? First, Ribadu was like, "We're going to charge you $10 billion." No, $20 billion. Fine. I was like, fine on what? And we are not going to release you until your Oga pay substantial part of that money. So to them, it was like, okay, you are kidnapping us, right? You have to keep us here. So we have to be here until somebody pays. Is that the point? This is not about investigating. So that was when the guy started getting used to the corrupt system of Nigeria. He shared his whole story. I'm telling you, he shared his whole story enough that, let me see if I can pick one of them up for you. And Ribadu and his guys have been on social media denying all these things. Are you believing this person instead of you to believe your own country? Why are you people not in love with your, like, why don't you love your country? Let me read this out to you. He said some unknown facts. That's the guy who said some unknown facts. You can read the rest in the Wired article. He said the DSS was involved in the House of Representatives matter. We met with them at their office on Friday, January 5, 2024, as a prerequisite to our meeting with the House of Representatives. They alluded to the fact that we had to comply with whatever the House members instructed us to do. At the House meeting, there were 3 members present. 2 of them were Peter Akpanke and Philip Agbese, both working under the leadership of Jinja Obina Onwusibe. There was a 3rd House member, but I don't recall his name. They set up fake cameras and media to make the meeting appear official, but the cameras weren't even plugged in. As you may already know, this ended with them asking for $150 million bribe paid in cryptocurrency into their personal wallet, a Mickey Mouse operation at its best. Ribadu invited us to the official meeting and walked through Saad Abubakar. Another key figure in this situation was Adama Beloji, Ogunjobi was just a pawn. They used him too. This was sold as a friendly meeting with the NSA, the head of the SEC, and the CBN governor, and include the discussion of the bribe that was solicited by the House of Representatives. The $26 billion figure they kept pushing publicly as some mystery money escaping Nigeria is complete bullshit. This information was provided in response to their request and was simply cumulative trade data for Nigerians on the platform. It was just people buying and selling crypto. For example, if you trade $100 100 times, that is $10,000 in trade volume. But in reality, you only used $100. Again, just another example of them lying to cover up their bullshit investigation. They lied about Nadeem escaping during the mosque prayer. Remember that time when they said one of them escaped? In reality, he returned and escaped afterward. I don't know exactly how he managed to flee. He emailed me in November, but we haven't discussed the details of his escape. It's possible he paid someone off, but I have no proof. If Beloji had simply checked his passport for a visa, he would have realized that Nadeem did not use that passport to travel to Nigeria. They sent a letter to the US Embassy and the British High Commission, falsely claiming that we were voluntarily participating in strategic talks. This was a blatant lie. Nadeem did not escape lawful detention. We were being held illegally. Beloji even admitted that he would fabricate evidence to obtain a court order to detain us for 14 days. Once the order expired, they were unable to get an extension from the judge. At that point, they continued holding us illegally and had no justification for doing so. There was a lot of noise about using Interpol to capture Nadeem. As someone who has been involved in multiple extradition cases, I can confidently say that this was a joke. Extradition is a lengthy legal process, and no national judge in Kenya or wherever would ever approve extradition for someone who escaped illegal detention at the hands of rogue law enforcement agents. So this was Nadeem. It was a long ride. I mean, it was a long post, though. You get said they also detained innocent EFCC detectives who weren't even present when Nadeem escaped. If anyone should have been detained, it was Beloji for multiple basic law enforcement failures, incompetence and negligence, including one, failing to search our belongings; 2, not checking passport for visas; 3, neglecting to coordinate with the immigration to issue travel restriction or alerts; mismanaging the situation internationally, creating an unnecessary diplomatic crisis, right? Is kind of like being fair. But you know what? The guy was like, listen, we later realized that we were dealing with criminals, rogues, corrupt government agents whose interest was like, pay us something. If you pay us, this whole thing can go away. While the rest of the Nigerians were being told that the reason why they are paying through their noses, right? Paying through their noses for basic things was because Binance or some Nigerians stole money and they put it in cryptocurrency. Again, it is part of what actually really got Ribadu talking again, and the second time in the news in a week. So the same Ribadu was said to be asking these Binance guys information on their political enemies. Like, how did he know that? Because they said it to him like, oh, those are like our political enemies. If you can give us this information, that information. They were looking for information to implicate people, to accuse them of something. Like, they are making these guys different offers, who are the offers that are pure criminal in nature. It's like, you know what, if you can give us this, or if you can give us that, or if you can, we can look into your case, and you need to pay us as well. In fact, you need to pay these House of Representatives members their money, you need to, so that they can let all these things go and not what have you. Corrupt system. Meanwhile, the reasons why your Nigerian naira keeps, crashing and falling is simply because of the poor, not thought through policies of Tifnumbu, the madman that told you subsidy was gone, and at the same time he told you to tighten your tighten your belt for economic austerity and what have you. But they themselves continue to lavish your money. Bought himself a private jet, presidential yacht, presidential house, vice presidential lodge in Abuja and in Lagos, and then spending over 8 billion. No, sorry, I think it was like 8 billion naira, right? In flying all over the world. I mean, so at the end of the day, when these guys finally got the diplomatic diplomatic intervention, and they got released, so everybody just went away. Like, oh no, sorry, everybody just pretended that. I won't say everybody. The Ronukus in particular, or these English-speaking talking heads, suddenly just moved on, right? Sorry about that again. If we have anybody who is having audio issue, the audio is perfect, and I have to admit it as well, right? I'm sorry that some people prefer I just ignore it because it's distracting them and all that, but in all honesty, so this corrupt system. Meanwhile, the reasons why your Nigerian naira keeps, crashing and falling is simply because of the. So it's all right. Let's keep it that way. I'm sorry, maybe because if I move closer back, it's more louder, and sometimes it can be like a little bit off, but it is not that bad for you to manage. You know, thank you. Just reason. Yeah, I see people are backing me up already, right? So anyway, that is trending. It is just another way of showing to you the league of criminals in charge of that contraption as we speak, and their decisions. That's another thing. Their decisions, okay, their decisions or their actions or inactions contribute to the economic downturn that you are experiencing. They do not want to take responsibility. See, this guy blames everyone but themselves. They blame everyone. If they are not telling you that the rest of the world is also suffering, that is not peculiar to Nigeria. The only thing they have not succeeded in convincing the Nigerians is that electricity is not always available in all over the world. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria that Nigeria is having a collapsed national grid. That's the only thing they've not succeeded in convincing some of these Ronukus, or how much of these Ronukus have been trying to convince you as well. So the bottom line is, Nigeria is captured by who? By a bunch of criminals who means no well for that contraption. They do not mean any well. And that is why they do not take responsibility for anything they have done. They will never take responsibility as well. It is always going to be somebody else's problem, someone else's fault. Okay? That they do not have any sustainable economic policy to start with, whether short-term, mid-term, or long-term. They blame everyone else. They even blame some of you for like breathing. Let me explain that. The contraption that the Ronukus, the Ronu Nazis, the bad idiots, the bad stats that they have, right, is a place where if you complain and say, a bag of rice for 90,000 naira, what kind of a country is this? Ronukus will ask you, must you eat rice? Hey, can you imagine? Chicken, kilo chicken is now so and so. They say, must you eat chicken? Me, I know they eat chop chicken anymore. It's a waste of money. In this in the time of poverty like this, it is the style of Prophet Yusuf that you must use. The Ronoku style.
In the time of poverty like this, the economic principle of Yusuf is what everybody should apply in his own lives. Eat little, save more. You don't know what is happening. Kese la nri lowo, makasakasa timbo. A dollar was just 800 naira or thereabout a couple of months ago. Now a dollar is over 1,000 naira. How much will it go? Nobody knows. Tori to nse falafulu. Ogba salary kilawa. Ìgbéraga week. Gbéra rẹ̀ sánlẹ̀ láìpẹ́. Eat little and save more. Ayé tá ń jẹ chicken kọ́ la wà yìí mọ́. Ayé shawarma kọ́ mọ́. Ayé ice cream kọ́. Mú gààrí. Jẹ pọ̀nmọ́. Gbàgbé táwọn doctor sọ pé kò ní nutritional value. Kí ló fẹ́ nutritional value pẹ̀lú kíní? Jẹ pọ̀nmọ́. Mú gààrí. Orí ẹja. Wàláì kò rẹ́rìn. Bọ́ọ̀bá lọ ṣe falafolo pẹ̀lú owó ìyà ó jẹ ọba kẹ́. This is the time to save.
It is the time to leave. It is a Ronoku style. Baba, Ronokus are telling people that you are able to afford your children's school fees as at when due. That you are able to build for yourself a mini house with a car, got married, you've got a small business, you've got your children. I mean, like, Ronokus were like, that was fake life. That was fake life. Yeah? Like somebody will have like 3 cars. You'll be having 2 cars. Where some people don't even get any car. Eh? It's a fake life. Thank you, Jare Baba Tifnumbu. Thank you, Baba Tifnumbu, for showing us that we have been living fake life, because people know they can no longer afford to fuel their cars. Ronokus are happy. That means, you are now living in the reality. We are just living a fake life. We don't have any money to be subsidizing all this thing, but they have enough money to be, to be taking care of these overfed pigs, these gluttons. Oh, talking about the overfed pigs. They actually have passed. Tifnubu submitted a budget of 47.9 trillion. Then he increased it to 52.9 trillion. Baba, the Akwabioli Senate, they have now passed a budget, a total budget of 45.9 trillion. That's like 46 trillion. They don't have their own. They don't pardon. Cushion them. Listen to this.
Distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54 trillion 990 billion 165,355,396 naira only.
Stop. Start again.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54 trillion 990 billion 165,355,396 naira only, of which 3 trillion 645 billion 761 million 358,925 naira only is for straight transfers. 14 trillion 317 billion 142 million 689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13 trillion 64 billion 9 million 682